Hello, welcome. Hope you're having a great day. So, I just browsed on YouTube and I came across this by JD um, Catholic channel. So he's a gentleman from Australia, and it's nice to see a Catholic. He's an intelligent guy, but as we all are, he's battling presuppositions as we all are. Okay, but what's nice is he raised the question: the faith does not change you, or he raised a statement: the faith that does not change you will not save you. Exactly. That's what the Protestants have been trying to say, such as myself, to the Catholics. When so in James 2, James in chapter 2 is comparing his faith to a man that had no spirit, James 2:26. So if you go to the very last verse, this put the whole chapter into perspective. For just as the body without the spirit is dead, so also faith without works is dead. So the man who he was comparing to that claimed he had faith here and no works, okay, is somebody without the spirit. Okay? So that's a faith that does not save. Okay? So that's why the question is, Ray, can that faith save him? Okay? So if we go to the lexicon, James 2:14. Now, the same Greek word here used in both cases, faith and then that faith. But what we need to understand is that conditional particle is used here, if. Okay? So there's a condition here. Okay? That's why they add the word that to this word faith and not here. Okay? You're comparing two different faiths based on conditions. All right? So can that faith save him? Okay? So that's why it's so important to the Greek here to understand the condition here. And so that's why in English translation they're just factoring in this word if, the Greek word that's used for if here. Okay? So another thing that is often missed by Catholics is the word see here. Let's just go to James 2:24. You see, perceive. Okay, let's go over here. To behold. Let's see. There's a word in here that. Okay, see in the mind. Okay, so that's what a lot of Catholics miss is the word see here. You cannot see faith. Okay, you can see evidence of faith. Okay, so when a man who does not have the Spirit claims to have faith, then you can no longer say that faith alone saves. But that's referring to a man who does not have the Spirit, who does not have the gift of faith given to him by God. Okay? So when Protestants say yes, we are saved by faith alone, they're talking about the gift of faith that God gives. Okay? Let's go to Romans 5. Okay, therefore have been justified by faith. Period. Nothing needs to be added. You don't need to add a word like. You're talking about the faith that God gives, not the faith of a man who is without the Spirit. That's what Paul's talking about. And I think that's what creates confusion. Paul talking about the faith that God gives consistently, and then James here introducing a person who has claimed to have faith, who says he has faith, but this is somebody who's without the Spirit. Okay? Let's also go to Ephesians 2:8-9. For by grace you have been saved through faith. Now, did he talk about the faith of a man who's without Spirit? No. He talked about the faith that's given to him by God. And now of yourself is the gift of God. Okay? Again, that's why people get confused. Paul talked about consistently the gift of faith by God, and James is not. He's talking about two different faiths. So I am so glad that a Catholic brings this up. The faith does not change you, will not save you. Yes. Exactly. You hit the nail on the head, JD. That's what I've been trying to say all along. Okay, so Ephesians 2, Paul talked about the gift of faith by God. Romans 5, Paul talked about the gift of faith by God. And in James 2, he talked about two different faiths. The faith of a man without the Spirit, which is not the gift of faith by God, which is not what Paul talked about here, and was not what Paul talked about here. Okay? So, does James believe that faith alone saves? Yes and no. If you're talking about the gift of faith that Paul talked about, yes, it will save you. If you're talking, again, if you're talking about the faith of a man who has without the Spirit, then no. Okay? And the point that James is making here, because you have a man without the Spirit who comes to that faith, and because you have a man such as James, his faith with the desire to do good works, you see that a man is justified by works, not by faith alone. The comparison here is the two different faiths, two different people. Again, the man without the Spirit versus James himself. I will show you by my faith, by my works. Okay, there's the contrast here. So, again, it's very important here, the condition particle here. Okay? So, yeah. So, this Greek word alone, you really absorb it through, you can see what's going on here. You know, with the two different faiths. And that's, again, that's why they add the word that to the word faith, but not the word that to faith here, even though it's the same Greek word for faith. It's because of this right here. Okay? So, are we saved by faith alone? Yes or no? Are we saved by a faith? If I don't have the Spirit and I claim a faith, am I saved by that faith? No. But if I have the Spirit, the gift of God, faith that's given to me by God, I am saved by that alone. I am justified. If we go to Romans 8. Okay, so right here. In the same way, the Spirit also helps our weakness. Okay? Again, let's go back to James 2. Man without the Spirit claimed as faith. Okay? That's not what's being talked about here. It's Romans 8, again, Paul's consistent. He's always referring to faith, the Spirit given by God. So the Spirit helps our weakness. Okay? So this is somebody who had the gift of faith given by God. So if you read Romans 8, 26 through 36, okay, so who will bring a charge against God's elect? God is the one who justified. It's not based on our works. Our works are simply the fruit of the gift of faith by God. Okay? If you get faith that's not given you by God, it's not gonna show any fruit for that. Any works, any desire to do good works. Okay? So again, it is God who justified, not your works. Who is the one who condemned? Okay? Let's see here. I'm trying to get to. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay. And these whom he predestined. Who predestined? God. Not you. Who he also called. God called. Not you. Not your works that justified. And these whom he called, Did you justify yourself by your works? No. He justified. How? By the gift of faith. Okay? And these whom he justified, he also glorified. Who? He did. There's nothing in here about your works justifying you. Okay? Again, you can see that a person is justified by their works. Okay? And that way you know they're given the gift of faith by God, and it's not just somebody who claimed he has faith who does not have the Spirit. Okay? So I am so glad that JD brought this up. The faith that does not change you will not save you. That is James 2:26 and 14. Okay? Can that faith save him? No. And that is not the faith that Paul talking about in Romans 5:1. It's right here. Therefore, having been justified by faith, we have peace, God's word. You don't need to add the word alone. Now, those who are sola scriptura recognizes you don't need to add the word faith alone. Just let the Bible do the talking. Now, those who are anti-sola scriptura, they need to add the word faith alone to remove those presuppositions that they have. But you don't need to have the word alone. Okay? So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I am so glad that JD brought this up, because this, if you understand this, and you understand that there are two different faiths being talked about here, alrighty? Man without the Spirit, meaning one faith, and James himself, his faith, which is the gift of God, which is what Paul is talking about, you will see that faith alone, but the faith that God gives you. Not some man without the Spirit claiming to have faith. Alrighty? That is the contrast why James used works as evidence that they have been justified rather than just faith alone by somebody who claims to have faith but doesn't. Okay? It's not saying that the works themselves justify. It's saying that you see that a man is justified by works. Okay? Again, it reflects that faith that's been given to him by God that already justified them. But again, if a person claims to have faith, no works, this is not the faith that Paul is talking about in Romans 5:1. Okay? I can't be more clear. And I hope if you are a Catholic, you watch this video, and hopefully I am clear. I am not always the clearest in my verbiage, but hopefully I am now. So thank you, JD, for posting this. Exactly. Thank you, and have a great day.